Coming up, I'll let you know why I'll be keeping a close eye on the Western Caribbean for the week ahead. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather. Great to see you on a Tuesday. I hope you're doing well. Coming up in this video, we continue to have areas plagued with heavy flooding rains. It's a big problem. We'll delve into those areas, the current state of affairs. I have your island by island rainfall forecast, and we're going to continue to monitor portions of the Western Caribbean for what could be the first signs of tropical development here in 2025. As we get the video started, as always, Meteo Mundo, sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. Anything that could impact you or your property, they're there to walk you through every step of the insurance claim process, offering free consultation and policy reviews. You go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. As always, let me hear from you, the Meteo Mundo weather community. What's been happening in your area? We'll get started with the spots that continue to see widespread heavy flooding rains. We still have this persistent trough over portions of the greater Antilles from eastern sides of Cuba, over Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, portions of the U.S. Virgin and British Virgin Islands, and even the Lesser Antilles for today as well. So starting off, Haiti, the Dominican Republic for today, showers and storms, again, persistently developing here in this pattern. We continue to have widespread flash flood warnings for most of the Dominican Republic, especially inland western locations. I know the Samana Peninsula has fallen under a flood advisory as well, and some of that heavy storm activity developing here in the higher terrain of the western interior sides of the DR and drifting off to the south and to the east. So places like Azua, Bajarona, Santo Domingo, on over towards Bani, La Romana, Punta Cana, all with some shower and storms today. You can see the temperature there in Santo Domingo beginning to fall again. Not just some rain, some lightning as well. So some pretty good thunderstorms and some heavy components to the showers that we're seeing across the area here. It's another wet flooding day through portions of Puerto Rico. We continue with flash flood warnings in some areas right now. You can see all of the thick cloud coverage rolling across Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. I'll bring on the live radar here out of southeast Puerto Rico, take off the satellite data for just a second. Now, these showers and storms are still just firing up at the hour. Still worried about interior western and central locations for the heaviest rain for today. It's again another day where some spots get 3 to 4 plus inches of rain in just one afternoon. That's why we continue to see the flooding, but now we have wet soils, we have higher river levels already, and so mudslides, landslides, river flooding, stream flooding, urban flooding is all going to be a problem, not only in Puerto Rico, but for the Dominican Republic as well. All of these issues will continue to be the same situation across these islands. We'll continue to see the opportunity for some heavier rain across the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. I don't think it's going to be as widespread, but again, we've had some areas where flooding has been an issue over the past several days, and some of this heavier rain could bring about more flooding potential right now. At this point in time, so the heaviest showers over Tortola, the Rotown area, towards Virgin Gorda, but St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, Vieques, Culebra, all with an opportunity here to continue to see waves of heavier showers and storms across this area. Bring back on the satellite imagery here. I'm going to switch over to the visible and go to what is going to be the visible infrared. We call it the sandwich here. It's both on one image at one point in time. Loop that up for you guys. Let me do that right there. All right, and we'll continue on. Just a nice presentation to kind of show you where some of that thicker cloud coverage is and the opportunity for some heavier storms. This persistent trough has worked its way over the Leeward Islands, and now we have flash flood advisories for portions of the Leeward Islands as well. So some heavier rain today. Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's temperatures only in the low to mid 80s Fahrenheit. Cebes, St. Eustatius really starting to set up some pockets of heavy rain. St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Antigua, Barbuda, even heavier storms just east right now of the Leeward Islands. But notice the slower movement to all of this on this Tuesday. So let's break down all of those flash flood problems in the areas that I've just mentioned. Again, for the Dominican Republic, many areas continue with the flash flood warnings. It is area dependent, but again, some spots could locally have 4 inches or 100 millimeters of rain just today. Puerto Rico, significant flash flood risk continues in interior locations. And for Antigua, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, there is a flash flood advisory through at least this afternoon, but it's one of those things that could be extended if the heavy rain persists deeper into this Tuesday. Again, the main threats, landslides, mudslides, urban flooding, rivers and streams, take it very seriously. Unfortunately, there has been at least one fatality out of the flooding, and hopefully we get no more than that, but it's a problem. All right. And it will continue to be a problem in these areas at least for one more day before things get a little bit quieter. Now you get south of Montserrat, still some heavy rain towards Guadeloupe. It becomes more spotty, at least at the hour, over Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, and Barbados. Notice temperatures are warmer there with a little bit more sunshine for today and at best sporadic cloud coverage and an isolated shower. Same thing for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Grenada, TNT so far is dry at the hour. Nueva Esparta, the shower staying just off the south side of you. ABC Islands, hot and dry. All the storms right now still over the mainland. Let's work our way back up to an area that's getting some storms again, and that's my friends in Jamaica. Again, pretty hefty storms, southern sides of the islands, a little bit farther west than what we've seen lately here. So, portions of Westmoreland Parish, but especially St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon parishes getting hefty thunderstorms at the hour. Good lightning count. Sav-la-Bar, Cambridge, Black River, Mandeville, Maypen areas there. And again, heavy rain and storms in these spots. You guys live in those southern parishes. Let me know in the comments section below. Even at least a little bit of cloud coverage over Kingston, but it's not out of the question that Kingston and halfway tree on over towards Portmore and Spanish Town had a brief passing shower there, and hopefully we get a little bit more in the area. As I mentioned for my friends in Jamaica in yesterday's video, this is the last best chance for a while. We should begin to dry out a little bit more starting tomorrow. We're still desperate for some rain in the Cayman Islands. An isolated shower is possible the remainder of today, but we're still mainly dry, and that's going to be the same situation over all of the Yucatan. Merida area, 102. Campeche today, 106 Fahrenheit for daytime highs. San Ignacio, Belize hit 102 Fahrenheit for a daytime high. Even Belize City got up to 91. Hardly a cloud in the sky out the hour. Same thing for the Bay Islands. Again, let's catch a shower here to cool things off. San Pedro Sula there on the northern sides of Honduras, 97 degrees. We follow our Central American friends back down to Panama and Costa Rica, and this is where the persistent heavier storms continuing. Again, we have a lot of energy in the Eastern Pacific, and I'm going to have more on that coming up. Working our way back to the north, another lovely day in the Bahamas. Freeport, Lucaya area on Grand Bahama, just 82. Same thing for Nassau, New Providence. A few storms could develop off of the southeast Florida coastline and try and make a run towards the northwest Bahamas, but generally speaking, the air is going to be too dry. So let's get into the forecast, friends. As we do so, appreciate you guys taking a quick second. Small payback, but it really helps support the channel. Thank you for hitting that like button. Hey, if you've gotten this far and you like this content, join our community. Hit that subscribe button for me right now. Thanks for sharing this with your family and friends, and of course, those who find ways to support myself and the channel here as well. All right, so we're going to get into the forecast. Of course, I've got your island by island forecast as well, but the first thing I want to do here is talk about two different areas that I'm going to be watching. This is a very distinct mid-level circulation just south of Bermuda. It's going to bring some rain to that area, and then I'm going to be watching the western sides of the Caribbean, especially over the week ahead. So I'm going to bring on the reflectivity, but the first thing I'm actually going to do is switch over to the vorticity. You guys know I like to show you this product this time of the year. It's the spin in the atmosphere. This is a kind of composite over the lower levels of the atmosphere. So I just want to start off with this, is that if this were a little bit different scenario south of Bermuda, this could have ended up being some kind of a subtropical storm. It's not going to be. It's a really solid rotation. You can see that. But what really happens is before anything more can get going, it gets absorbed into the next cold front coming off of the United States East Coast, just west of Bermuda. I will expect this to kick up some sea conditions. It's bringing some large, long period swells to the eastern side of the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos in the coming days, but that would be about it. But again, very interesting large feature for this time of the year, not going to become anything tropical. Now we have to look back down to the area I mentioned yesterday. Again, we have this persistent monsoon trough. We have this persistent Colombian low. And the models are beginning to try and spin something up at the lower levels of the atmosphere sometime around this time next week, maybe in the 8 or 9 day time frame. So you can just see when I just show you this, notice that persistent spin continues off of Colombia towards Panama, and eventually we get enough of a wrap up here to potentially produce something a little bit lower level in the atmosphere and also slightly farther north into the far southwest Caribbean. This would be our first opportunity to be keeping an eye for anything tropical. Now, does this mean that this is going to become, a true tropical depression or anything more than that? Certainly bears watching. I will say that. It's not like we're too early in the season. There are many hurricane seasons that get started before June 1st. Typically, that actually happens in the Gulf of Mexico, but, the western side of the Caribbean and the western Atlantic are also prone for early season development. So this is just the first thing, and we talked about a lot in yesterday's video that really has my attention. Right? And we've got plenty of time to monitor this, but we've now seen a couple of days in a row of just persistently the models showing the opportunity that there could be some spin up. If nothing else, I do expect this to really start to lift some of this rich moisture that's been sitting over Panama and Costa Rica the last several days, actually the last several weeks, and drift it farther north to bring more of Central America heavier rain. So regardless of potential tropical development, maybe it's a situation where we got to watch out for some heavy flooding rains in that area as well. All right, so let's get into the forecast over the next several days. Again, this system gets absorbed by the front over eastern sides of the United States and doesn't become anything. We're going to try and dry things out a bit over the next few days for Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the Leeward Islands as well. Still expecting some heavier rainfall for tomorrow, but just letting the model run out over the next 3 days, you can see there's just not as much on the map. We'll finally begin to lose some of the mid-level support and some of the lift in the atmosphere, and the rain chances and the total rain should come down a bit beginning on Thursday, but still could be some heavier rain and some flooding potential for your Wednesday. So Santiago de los Caballeros, Puerto Plata, Santo Domingo, on over towards Puerto Plata, Rincon, San Juan, St. Croix, St. John, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Saba, St. Eustatius, Antigua, Barbuda, all could still see some heavier rain tomorrow before things begin to fade away. And you can see there's pockets of heavy rain that will develop. The biggest thing is that some of these showers just won't be very fast moving, and that's why they could produce locally 2 to 4 inches or 50 to 100 millimeters in just one afternoon. Again, back into Dominica and Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados. It's isolated showers the next couple of days. Would expect a little bit more moisture to return late on Thursday, maybe on Friday, to spell a slightly better chance for some rain. I think it's still going to be very island dependent. I think Trinidad and Tobago still have the best chance for some showers and a better chance as we get towards the weekend, but it'll be a situation I'll be monitoring. Look, as well, when you don't catch the rain, it's going to get pretty hot and steamy this time of the year as well. So temperatures could easily be in the lower 30s Celsius in most spots, 31, 32 degrees, not out of the question, 90 plus Fahrenheit. ABC Islands. I still expect us to have the opportunity for some showers, especially on our Thursday. Isolated tomorrow, maybe just a little bit better chance on Thursday, and then drying out a bit on Friday. Is it going to be a lot of rain for most areas? No, but a slightly higher chance for Thursday afternoon. There's the heavy persistent rain that continues with the flood threat for Panama on over towards Costa Rica. You get into Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, all the way up towards Cancun, Cozumel, Tulum. If you catch a shower the next couple of days, consider yourselves quite lucky. There's just not a lot of rain on the board. And again, where it's been hot, it's going to stay hot. If you've had a heat advisory, you'll probably stay with a heat advisory. Cayman Islands, again, a brief shower possible. I'm not expecting much. And again, we'll be drying out for Jamaica as well. Still with a okay chance for a couple of showers tomorrow. You can see that again, probably favoring the southern sides of the island, the southern parishes. Northern coastline should probably be drier, if not completely dry. But then everyone dries out a bit as we get into Thursday and Friday, and really just isolated rain chances, which means temperatures will pump back up into the lower 30s Celsius for daytime highs. Still going to be relatively quiet for Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas. Again, no big moisture plume coming back in. A couple of showers could try and sneak into the northwest Bahamas as we get into Friday, but our better chances here might occur over the weekend with the next system coming in. And this one that'll be moving through the southeast United States will be dropping farther south in latitude, picking up more moisture from the northern Gulf Coast And that should spell better and heavier rain chances farther south. And that means, I think, at least the central and the northwest Bahamas, potentially over the weekend, could start to get into better rain and storm chances. But let's break it down. Until then, we're still relatively dry. Again, I built it a little bit up on Friday for the northwest Bahamas, including Nassau, New Providence, and Grand Bahama, Eleuthera, the Abacos, and Andros, and Bimini, and all those areas included in that. Still very dry, though. Mainly just a passing shower, central southeast Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. Isolated scattered storms in Cuba, a few showers in the Cayman Islands, but not a ton. And even drier in Belize City, maybe a slightly better chance on Friday. A lot of dry conditions and dry hours in Cancun and Cozumel. 30% chance for showers tomorrow in Jamaica. We're down to a 20% chance Thursday, Friday. Still healthy rainfall chances of the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico tomorrow, and then slightly fading, especially Thursday, and then probably bump it back up a bit on Friday. Look, I wish I could say we're in store for a lot of dry days in a row, but that's not going to be the case. But hopefully, if nothing else, we reduce the amount of rain we're getting on a daily basis. Rain chances are still high in the U.S. and British Virgin Islands through Thursday, slightly drier on Friday. Bermuda's rain chance is highest tomorrow, then fades through Friday. Anguilla, St. Kitts, and Nevis, again, solid 50, 60, even 70% chance tomorrow, including Antigua and Barbuda. And again, there is an opportunity that some of the Leeward Islands could fall under more flash flood advisories for Wednesday as well. Higher rain chances continue in Montserrat and Guadeloupe. As you get south of Dominica, we begin to see these shower chances fade, but still, I can't rule out a pocket of heavier downpour here or there. It's just going to be more isolated in nature for Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. Not a lot of rain from a fringe in Bridgetown, Barbados for tomorrow, but improving rain chances on Friday. And that's kind of how I expect it to play out in the Windward Islands in general. Better rain chances as we approach the weekend. Suriname and Guyana still have healthy rain chances. It's interesting because this plume of moisture really lifts north of the mainland on Thursday, giving Nueva Esparta and the ABC Islands better rain chances then. Let's take a look at the overall amount of rain that we expect to see here from the GFS model. So again, back over to the areas that we have to concern ourselves with ongoing flooding. So how much more rain could we get in these areas in the next couple of days? Well, it's a little bit lower than what we had, but we still are going to be flood prone, especially, as I've mentioned, interior western sections of the Dominican Republic, maybe even the southern sides of the peninsula of both Haiti and the Dominican Republic as well. Near Santo Domingo, over an inch of rain. That's still solid 50 plus millimeters in some spots, and they'll be even locally higher. As I have mentioned, notice this bullseye right here in the middle of interior sections of Puerto Rico, Uti Alto, Calle, on over towards Coambo here, Corozal, San Juan, not as much on the northern side, but again, that's probably the minimum over the next few days here, because we've had some spots with 3 to 4 inches in just a daily total, right? But you get the idea that we're still going to continue with some heavier rain there. Still can see some heavier rain in St. Croix, Vieques, and Culebra. The model doesn't have as much here over the rest of the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands, but look, there'll still be pockets of heavier rain. But as I've mentioned, I'm more concerned about the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico for the heavier showers, and then back in through portions of the Lesser Antilles, the Leeward Islands in general, Montserrat, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, some of the areas under the flash flood advisory right now. Some of that heavier rain could be over Guadeloupe. Again, it's not tremendous amounts, but it could fall in a short amount of time, and that's why you're going to have your problem. And as I mentioned, you get south of Dominica, the rain totals should fall and then become very sparse for Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago in the next few days, but hopefully getting a little bit better there. Nueva Esparta, again, some rain. The ABC Islands, we're right on the edge, right? Let's try and get a ½ inch in Aruba. We'll even take a ¼ inch in Curacao, a ½ inch in Bonaire as well. But again, we see just to the south of us, several more inches of rain could fall. Panama, Costa Rica, wet, flooding, not a fantastic thing. You get far inland into Central America and the Yucatan, you get better rain chances, but along our immediate coastline, there's just not much here, guys. Cancun, Cozumel, again, dry, hot where it's not been raining, dry mainly over Cuba and the Cayman Islands. Again, it's interesting because when we average out the next couple of days across Jamaica, I don't have any one area with more rain than others, but I'm still going to favor the southern parishes for some of the healthier rainfall totals. But it would be nice to get some showers towards Ocho Rios and the Falmouth area here. Maybe a few showers again over eastern sides of Cuba. And there is, again, relatively dry conditions, but down the road some of that heavier rain here in Central Florida will try and work its way south and east towards portions of the Bahamas. Friends, you can follow us across all social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, X. We got a Facebook page. You want to send me a picture or video to help tell the weather story in your area. It's myMediaMundo@gmail.com. Just include your name, of course, where the picture or video is from. You want to give me a little description. I'd appreciate that as well. You have a specific question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comment section below. While you're down there, thank you for liking and subscribing. And please remember that Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They cover the entire state, so hail damage, hurricane damage, you've been in an auto accident, they can help you. They'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process, offering free consultation and policy reviews. You want to support someone who supports the channel, go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Friends, have a great, safe rest of your Tuesday. I'm back tomorrow with the latest forecasts, monitoring the Western Caribbean and other areas. We're getting close to that time of the year. I'll see you tomorrow right here at Meteo Mundo.